Hey guys, welcome to the final lesson here. We're going to start with just a review of the 7th chord inversions on the top 4 strings. Basically, this is going to get us into chord melody playing. This is, again, assuming you know all your, what I call the grip shapes. Again, to review that, we have G major 7, G dominant 7, G minor 7, G minor 7 with a flatted 5, and G diminished 7. That's on the 6th string root. And then we need to know our 5th string root, C major 7, and then flat 7, to the dominant 7, flat the 3, C minor 7, flat the 5th, that's a minor 7, flat 5, double flat that 7 to a 6, and that's C diminished 7. And again, that's probably the first thing I'd really recommend, is that you can read those charts, whatever song you're looking at, and just be able to play the grip shapes. Now, to continue that onto the top 4 strings, it's the same idea. We take the bass note and we put it up on the 1st string. So now here's G major 7. And now you can refer back to the chart over there at your inversions. So now when we go down the list here, we have G major 7. This is the root on top, 5th, 3rd, and of course the 7th. If you wanted to, you could wrap your thumb around it if you want to get a nice full bass note, but I'm just going to show these with the top 4 strings. And these are also great for playing ukulele, jazz ukulele. Same shapes, sound great. G7, we flatted a 7, flat the 3. We all know that shape, the bar shape there for the minor 7. Some of you who play the swing gypsy jazz style know that is a major 6 chord. And I'm on the 3rd fret, if you can see where that is. There were G's on top. Flat the 5th. Again, I can put that in the bass. So again, you might go back to that shape and say, oh, that's what it looks like there. I'm just putting the root on top. And now this is really getting us into chord melody style. And G diminished 7. And yes, that's the one we can slide every 3 frets. Just like we were to go every 3 frets on the 6th string shape. So let's review that. G major 7, flat the 7, G7, flat the 3rd, minor 7, flat the 5th, that's minor 7, flat 5, also known as half diminished, and then fully diminished 7. I wrote circle 7, shorthand there. Okay, so that's the basic concept and the shapes with the root on top. Now, if you go down to the next row there, we have G major 7 here. That's the 3rds on top. That's my 7th fret here. Okay, so now root, 5th, 7, and the 3. So now I didn't write these shapes in there for you, so this is where I'm expecting you to do the work. This is, the best way for you to do it, instead of just having a chord chart that shows you all the chords, is to think about this yourself and then figure it out. So as long as you know the formulas, that's what's important. G major 7. So now we want to flat that 7. Well, the 7's on the 6th string, so we need this shape. And this is where you're like, oh, okay, that is like a D7. We know that down here, but it's up here. Nice bluesy, rockabilly style chord. Okay, minor 7, flat the 3rd. This is probably Wes Montgomery's favorite shape, with a 3rd on top. So it's G minor 7, G minor 7, flat 5, flat the 5th. That's a great shape. We'll use that a lot in blues and swing, obviously. And then the diminished 7, flat this note here, and that's now G diminished 7. So I'll do that one more time. G major 7, dominant 7, flat the 3rd. That's on the 1st string. Flat the 5th, and now diminished 7. So those are not written on that chart, but please take the time to do that and complete this 7th chord inversion, top 4 strings sheet. Okay, now the next one is on the 10th fret here. My dot's on the 10th fret on this guitar. This is kind of an interesting shape, by the way. Really in a spacey. That's G major 7, believe it or not. We have the 3rd, 7, root, 5th. was showing in class a nice substitute, which is just this shape. That's just a major 6 with a 9. That's often a sub. Django used that a lot. A lot of jazz guitar players, because this one's a little bit harder to grab. So again, that's a G. That'd be a C6, G6 9. If we added the bass note, some of you know it like that already from Belleville, and I call it the pentatonic chord, because it has that all the notes of a penta scale, major penta. Okay, but anyways, let's go back to the sheet. We'll definitely be expanding on that, the subs for these, after you guys kind of get these shapes down. So we have the major 7. Again, that's 3, 7, root, and the 5th is on top. We'll just turn that to dominant 7, flat the 3, right? So, flat the 7. So here's our major 7. Okay, so that's G7. To make it a minor 7, flat the 3 now. That's a nice shape. Flat the 5th. So here's the 5th is actually on the top string. So that's minor 7, flat 5. And of course, to make it diminished 7, you're going to know the shape already. Back to that same shape. We've had that shape 2 times already down here. And yeah, that's the only inversion, 7th chord inversion, where it's the same shape for us. So the last one is the major 7 on the 14th fret. And yeah, you can even go down if you don't have the cutaway down to the 2nd fret, but let's do it up here, because that's how it's going to be a little bit movable for us without the open strings. Major 7. And by the way, if we put the E in the bass, that could be called the E minor 9. And again, that'll be an advanced topic we'll hit hopefully in the next round of the jazz guitar class. So G major 7, flat the 7. And yes, you guys know that from A7 down here on the A shape. Okay, and now where's that 3 at? 3 is here. So now we have G minor 7. And again, a lot of you know that from your A minor 7 shape. Whoa. Down there. Just adding on that flat 7. So again, the flat 7's on top. That's what's important. So always make sure you know the melody note is what's on top, because that's how we're going to harmonize these jazz songs or any pop songs or rock songs, with knowing where the melody note is in relation to the chord. So here's our flat 7. Okay, that's a minor 7. Now the 5th is here. Now we have that's minor 7, flat 5, and then our diminished 7, flat that. And yes, there it is. That completes the diminished way up here to the 12th fret, of course, before we hit where we started, the root. So those are your 7th chord inversions. So please, I went through the concept there, but take the time and grab a pen and write in those. All you need is to know the formulas, and then the ones that are above it, you'll know what to do, or sorry, to the left of it, because those are your inversions for the major 7s. So again, take that major 7 here, flat the 7, go through the routine, minors, and that will really help you get these. Then take this inversion, and then flat the 7 to make it dominant, etc. Take this inversion, flat the 7 to make it dominant, and just go through them. So you get your major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, flat 5, and diminished 7. Then you're set. And that's my cue there in this lesson. So there's the primer for the 7th chord inversions on the top 4 strings. And now it's time to apply them to some chord melody songs.